Hi there, it's Adam bringing you another video to the channel. We are continuing the 21-22 UK Model Airport series, focusing on the sun schedules around 12:30, so pretty much just after midday. Obviously going to get into the update. This update is probably not one of the liveliest, but I thought it was quite important to showcase. Obviously a few models we've seen previously and all that kind of stuff, but the unique thing about this one was what you can see in the picture right now. Two Virgins in at the same time. So that's not really featured too much during these updates. Obviously they operate in different schedules, different flight times of course, so one usually comes like in the morning time and then one sort of late afternoon, depending where they're flying from too, of course. And we haven't really featured the Virgin Atlantic A333 too much as well. So compared to certainly the 7879, so I thought it was quite important to do this update based on that. Otherwise, again, some of the frames we are pretty familiar with, but again, gives you an idea of the essence of the time of day in particular. I'm going to get into the update. I'm going to start on the right hand side with cargo and then sort of work our way back over to the left, just because I think it's probably better that way. And then again, pretty much common theme. I'm just going to kind of recap things, you know, in my thought process of the upcoming projects that I want to do, how things are panning out, sort of change of ideas, because I'll be honest, I can't remember what I mentioned in the last video, if I'm honest. I can't remember what I said, but we'll kind of, like I say, we'll recap all that kind of stuff. So we're going to start off on the sort of cargo ramp remote stands with the regular DHL 757-200 service inbound, literally just arrived from Leipzig as BCS 6892, registration Golf Delta Hotel Kilo Oscar. I'm going to pan across, start off on this far side with the Qatar Airways A330-300 Alpha 7 Alpha Echo Echo. This is doing obviously the common regular service, midday service from Doha as QR2728. Of course, going forward, if we do focus on a more modernised, keeping up with the times airport, of course, we'll see a lot more Qatar A350s, which we haven't featured at all on these updates, which I kind of hoped I would have, maybe featured one or two, but yeah, these, basically all the A330s that I have, A330-200s, A330-300s, they will be replaced by A350s in the future when it comes to doing possibly another UK Model Airport series, like I said, based on the modern day times. Next up we have the Virgin Atlantic A330-300. Again, we haven't really featured this an awful lot compared to the 7879 Dreamliners, but registration is Golf Victor Sierra X-Ray Yankee, doing a back-to-back run as VS7475 from and to Orlando. Then we have the Virgin Atlantic 7879, registration Golf Victor Zulu India Golf, arrived from Montego Bay as VS166 and will be heading out to Miami as VS117. Now we come across this side. Again, going forward, you know, if we do focus on a UK Model Airport in modern day times, as it is, Emirates 777s are most likely going to be replaced by the A350s. Quite often, obviously a lot of airports have the A380s, but I know Edinburgh in particular has been getting the A350s, which is nice to see. They do look very nice, I'll be honest, in the Emirates livery. So I do already have one, I believe. I think. Might be mistaken there, or unless it's on order, but I know for a fact at least one or two have been released. which I might still be waiting for. But again, like I say, going forward, 777s will be no longer, and more, probably, they might still operate, but more dominated by the A350s, as you can imagine. Registration Alpha 6 Echo Papa Papa, doing again the afternoon service from Dubai as EK35 and 36 on the outbound. Next up, we have this Ryanair 737-800, Ryanair UK, registration Golf Romeo Uniform Kilo Alpha. This is actually the first departure of the day, so like I say, we're already past midday, and this is the first departure. So obviously the other updates that we've covered previously on Sunday, this would have been sort of probably positioned on a remote stand somewhere, if you imagine a larger sense of the airport scale. But we'll be heading out, again, our first departure out to Malaga as RK7423. And another aircraft we haven't really featured too much, which I'll be honest, I don't really get great perspectives of this model because it's always sort of taxiing out, given the sort of turnaround time. But again, scheduled departure around about midday is this Aer Lingus A321neo, registration Golf Echo India Romeo Hotel, heading out to New York as EI44. And that pretty much, that pretty much covers the update. Just going to pan back around because I'll be honest, certain perspectives I do like, and I like that perspective with the with both Virgins, especially the A333, considering it's not really been featured too much. Again, Virgin Atlantic is another one actually. Obviously going forward, A350-1000s will probably be more dominant alongside the 787-9s going into the future, and things like that. So there's a lot to look forward to if we do eventually focus on a UK model airport, based on modern times, keeping up to date with what's going on in the real world, and again, something sort of to look forward to. In terms of past videos, I kind of try and update you sort of where possible, even if there's no real update. But I can't remember, like I said, what I mentioned in the last video, but I just want to recap. So I've been working on the schedules for the Australian side of things, which are going to work well for both 1400 and 1200. Now the initial project is going to be focused on 1200. It's funny actually, because in 1400 and 1200 it's kind of like, I don't know how you would say it, but maybe discrepancies, maybe that's not the right word, but kind of like, you've kind of either got something in 1400 or you haven't got it in 1200, vice versa. So what I'm trying to say is, in 1200, we are, in terms of the Australian side of things, we are pretty much well covered. So in 1200, we're pretty much well covered with Qantas, Qantas Link and Virgin Australia. However, Jetstar is kind of lacking in my collection, so that's a bit of an issue. In comparison, in 1400 scale, we are well covered in 1400 scale with Jetstar. Not too bad with Qantas and Qantas Link, and then Virgin Australia, we're not too bad, but I just want to put it out there as well. If anybody does have the Phoenix or NG 1400 Virgin Australia 737-800s, I want to buy them if they are available, if you want to sell them. They will be so important for my updates. I guess that also goes for any 1200 Jetstar as well. If anybody's got any of them, let me know. But more so the Virgin Australia 737-800s in 1400 scale. I am pretty well covered in that department, because I do have the 737-800s by NG. I do have 737-800 as well, and I also have the 738 MAX as well. So I am kind of covered in a sense, in terms of like based on the schedules. Now the schedules as well, I don't know if I mentioned this, but They are going to be based on Hobart Airport, which is in Tasmania. But the actual sequence of flights works really well for what I want to focus on. Now, I am focusing on them schedules, but what I want to do as well is not base it on Hobart Airport. I'm actually basing the layout concept on Rockhampton. I don't know what it is, but obviously we've got Northampton in the UK, and I keep getting mixed up with, say, Northampton and Rockhampton. But it's Rockhampton that I'm focusing the layout on in Australia. It's a good premise because there's not many stands, which works well for the schedules. But if you look at videos, photos, sort of news reports as well, they have had some big aircraft in there, including up to Antonov 124s. There's been Atlas 744. There's been, I'm not going to be getting all these to cover, but there's been Singapore A350 from what I've seen. There's been Royal Brunei 787s. There's been 777 as well. Amongst other movements, obviously a lot of military stuff, C-17s, A330 MRTTs, mostly for training exercises, so I believe. And yeah, it's a nice foundation to work with, and very significant, I think, especially cargo wise as well, because I kind of want to feature the Qantas Freight A330s. That was a significant thing. Now, the initial idea was to go with Sydney Airport based on domestic terminal, which is an interesting prospect, but I just think the ratio of aircraft that I have, probably in both scales, compared to standard ratio, it's not great. So I kind of thought, no, it's better to kind of go with like a more kind of regional type focus kind of airport, if that makes sense. So again, we're not going to be getting international flights. We're not going to be seeing like Qantas A330s or Qantas 787s or Qantas A380s, for instance. We're not going to be seeing them. I'm not focused on all that stuff. I'm more focused on the domestic stuff with the 737-800s. Alliance Airlines as well, they'll be featured. Obviously, the basis I want to focus on is 2024, so Bonza will be significant as well, which are, again, also more significant in 1400 because, unfortunately, 1200 we've only got the one release on that. But yeah, both work well. Obviously, 1200 I do need to acquire Jetstar, and then 1400 ultimately pretty much well covered in that department. What I want to do though is ideally get the other missing Virgin Australia 737-800s, and also as well I'm hoping to see another Qantas Link -8 released at some point in these sort of more modern colours. So I'm hoping Gemini Jets, or maybe even, I think more Gemini Jets are probably more known to do it, but hopefully they'll release a Qantas Link -8 soon. We have only got, so basically doing this update, we've only got another 2 updates after this as well, just to sort of cap off the video, and then that'll be it for this project. Again, I probably had moments where I thought, I'm kind of getting a little bit bored of this, but at the same time, I've enjoyed it. Like, I've really enjoyed this, like, this last year, pretty much. It's weird to think that I started this at the beginning of this year, and it's took us all the way through to nearly the end, up to sort of what will be Christmas time, which will allow me a nice break, actually, over that time. Obviously, before I go back to work as well in the new year as well. Obviously, I've got a couple more working weeks as well, but once the lead up to Christmas, I can just sort of relax a little bit and then focus on the coming projects that I want to do, and kind of showcase my thoughts and ideas in what I'm planning when the new year finally comes. So yeah, I'm really excited about what's to come, and hopefully you guys appreciate the kind of concepts that I'm going to be doing. Again, the video updates are going to be sort of different, which we'll kind of give a go. I guess a little bit of a taster will be in how we're going to do updates will be on the 2006 UK based airport that I want to do as well in the meantime. So stay tuned for that, and we will see how we we'll see how we get on.